Hey guys, what's up? It's Wigwam. Welcome back to another indie review. Today we're taking a look at the game FutureGrind, out now for PS4, PC, and Switch. A game that I was supposed to review back in January, but life happened, so here we are. We're gonna review it now. The latest game from a company called Milkbag Studios. They previously made a game called Disco Zoo, which is an amazing name, and was out on Android and iOS. They also made another game called Sidewards, which looks pretty delightful actually, so I might have to go check out some backlog even. That's always fun. However, unlike their first two titles, FutureGrind is their first venture onto the console market. So do they have what it takes to swing with the big time indies, or are there some growing pains? Let's take a look at FutureGrind and find out. Visually, FutureGrind is a futuristic world laced with neon rails. I love the use of strong neon colors, not just as a means to add color and vibrance to the game, but from a practical standpoint to make the rails easier to react to in some of the more split-second timing that the game can require. FutureGrind sticks to a strong but simple color palette on every level, featuring a variety of backdrops. Your grinding career will take you through snowy mountains, dark urban cities, ocean, beachfronts, and even to the moon. The backgrounds get reused quite a few times throughout the game, but this isn't any sort of detriment. I wouldn't expect a game like this to have a unique background for every single level, as it's not what you'll be spending most of your time paying attention to. If you spend pretty much any time paying attention to the background, you're probably gonna die. What they give us feels satisfactory and gives the game enough variety to both make you feel like you're making progress as you unlock new levels and keep it visually interesting from start to finish. The visuals themselves keep it pretty simple. The bikes, your character, the backgrounds, nothing is over the top intricate. There's nothing wrong with simplistic visuals as long as they are well executed though, and FutureGrind is certainly well executed. It feels like it has its own distinct style, and it's appropriate for what the game is. I especially enjoyed the little staticky glitch effects that the game used. They had a splash of color onto the usual snow distortion effect, and it played well into the theme of the game. It went a long way to giving this game a more unique sense of style and individuality. The soundtrack for this game is a collection of electronic music that honestly isn't for me. I gave the soundtrack a genuine try. I gave it a couple of hours of gameplay, but eventually I just had to go into the menu and shut that music volume down to 0. Tracks are not level specific and continuously play through deaths like they would in a game like Super Meat Boy, so you end up looping through the whole soundtrack pretty quickly. Obviously, in a game where you die a lot, you don't want to restart the music between every death, so this was the correct decision to make. It just also happens to lead to, in this case, with a very limited track selection, me going insane from the music after about 2 hours. Take this part of the review with a grain of salt though. I'm not a huge fan of electronic music or of hearing the same tracks in the game repeated so many times. I'm quick to listen to my own music when I play games like The Binding of Isaac as well, because I just get tired of the same soundtrack over and over and over again. And the feeling of wanting to play a game outlasting wanting to listen to its music isn't necessarily that bad of a thing. Onto the gameplay. So FutureGrind takes inspiration from quite a few other games to come out with something that feels pretty special. It's Tony Hawk meets Super Meat Boy meets Trials meets Ollie Ollie, and I kind of got some vibes of like a Thumper style rhythm game subtly buried in there somewhere too. This mix comes together like peanut butter and chocolate to make one hell of a game. In FutureGrind, you're given a pretty simple task. Use this bike to grind these rails to the end of the course. Don't fall off, and make sure you only touch the same colored wheels to the same colored rails or you'll explode. You get a double jump, the ability to spin, and that is pretty much it. Rails can be grinded on top or bottom, jumps can be held for extra height, and there are the occasional jump orbs or color change zones on the level. This comes together magically. FutureGrind is one of my favorite types of indie games. It kind of takes a simple concept and works it into something totally fun, punishing, and addictive as hell. It is so easy to jump into that after the first few levels you feel like, alright, I got a good grasp on this gameplay, I'm killing it. Then you hit a level with some new mechanic or trick to be pulled off, and the next thing you know, you're 40 deaths in and you're giving yourself the pep talk. You know the pep talk, you got this, man. Just get past that one part. You just gotta get past that one part. You already got the first part master, you got the second part master. Just come on, let's go. I'm just gonna get this. You got this. Woo! That's the pep talk I give myself typically. FutureGrind is a single-player campaign mode experience only. Every time you unlock a new level, you get one simple mission first. Clear the level. After you get a basic mastery of each level, you're presented with 2 additional challenges for that course. They vary from things like touch all the jump boards, don't touch any of this color rail, get X number multiplier, make your first backflip, a 720, and so on and so forth. These start off optional, but are required to be completed to unlock some of the late game levels. I almost didn't even notice they'd become mandatory though, because secondary missions were by far my favorite part of the entire game. You can play through the initial course to get points in more of a freestyle mode, but these challenges really made me feel like I was gaining a mastery of the mechanics of the game, and that's exactly what a punish fest like FutureGrind is all about. It's about getting that feel of mastering difficult gameplay mechanics. It was challenging without crossing that line into frustrating, and that can be a very difficult thing for a game like this to master. It kept me playing for long play sessions and made the game hard to walk away from. In addition to the levels themselves growing more difficult throughout, you have a variety of vehicles to play with. Your most basic bike has 2 wheels and 2 jumps. The point of balance is in the middle, meaning you do occasionally have to make sure your vehicle isn't tipping over on its own. Some of the other vehicles have offset centers of gravity, triple jumps, but they're shorter, no drifting, etc, etc. This provides a lot more depth to the mechanics of the game, but you can only play each course with the bike that the game allows you to. This does sadly feel a bit limiting. So FutureGrind does have a full story. It's a bit more than just working your way through sponsors to become a hotshot future grinder, but I'm not sure it really needed to be. The plot, which I won't spoil, comes off as a bit silly as it parades you through a series of predictable cliches. This game didn't really need a story, but it can be nice that it has one, and I wonder if this was the developer's mentality as well. They certainly don't really do anything new or exciting, but does give you something to read along with throughout the game, and that adds an extra layer of motivation to complete all your side missions. Overall, it's not bad, it's just bland. I could take it or leave it, and I honestly don't think it would particularly affect how I feel about this game at all. The final thing I want to mention before wrapping up this review though is the biggest missed opportunity in FutureGrind. This game exists only as a single player campaign. This is a huge shame, as having a level builder for the community to create and share levels would have made this game a must-have and lit a fire under the players to share it with their friends. If you could create your own courses in FutureGrind and let players either go for specific objectives like you do in the main campaign, or even just let them track high scores, it could have added a near endless amount of playtime to FutureGrind. Sadly though, whether due to limited development time or money or whatever reasoning, this game starts and ends with the campaign. So, in conclusion, overall, I actually really enjoyed FutureGrind. If it featured a creative mode, it would be so much easier for me to give it a blanket recommendation for everybody, but as is, I think I'm gonna have to rein back my recommendation to people who are fans of auto runners or challenging platformers. People who enjoy games like that, like me, are gonna get a ton of fun out of FutureGrind. If you've seen the gameplay, you've watched this review, and you feel a little more on the fence about what's going on, I would say wishlist it, maybe give it a shot when it goes on sale, but hey, that's just my opinion of the game. Have you played FutureGrind? If so, let me know down below what you thought of it, and if not, let me know what kind of auto runner, super hard challenging platform games that you love. And as always, I will see you guys in the next review. If you enjoyed this, leave it a like, subscribe, you know the deal, it's YouTube, repeat the same thing every time, do the stuff, or else, you know, YouTube's gonna come after you and demonetize your whole life. Bye-bye.